You're watching Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. It's the only podcast offering unfiltered guidance and direct advice for anyone in the financial services and wealth management industry. Learn more today at eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast. And now, here's your host, Frank LaRosa.
Hey everybody, welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. I am your host, Frank LaRosa, and as always, joined here this soon-to-be a fall day with our president, Dale Dempsey. What's cooking?
Hey, how's it going?
Adventure Explorer, as they say on his business card.
Yeah. I like that as maybe it would draw more to my personality. But yeah, that's me. I'm the Adventure Explorer.
Yeah, so today well, I guess first, why don't we start off with, basically with our thoughts and prayers of everybody in Florida that's getting hammered with this hurricane, which is, I guess, one of the biggest hurricanes on record, from what they're saying. So, we really want to make sure everybody stays safe and gets shelter and does what they need to do to protect their family. So, everybody stay safe. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. We hope that you enjoy our new podcast studio. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not watching it on YouTube, you should watch it on YouTube because you'll start to see the transformation of our new podcast studio. One of these days we'll get the sign up, but we're working on that one, so that'll be there soon. But anyway, thanks for joining us. For those that continue to listen to our podcast, we appreciate all of the kind words that you leave, the comments, the 5-star ratings. Thank you very much. So continue to do that. And more importantly, don't forget to share this podcast with friends that you think might find the information useful. We have a whole bunch of different podcasts, and so over 100 now. And we try to make them as meaningful and educational as possible. So, if you're in financial services and you're a financial advisor or an RIA or at an RIA, and you're an IAR, people get that mixed up all the time. There's tons of content in here that you can find that's useful. So today we're going to talk about something, and I'm basically going to steal something or borrow something from a friend of mine. His name is Ed Mylett. Some people may know him. He's somewhat famous. He wrote a brand new book called The Power of One More, which is really, really good, which we may cover a little bit of that today. But we just did our national conference for our firm, and we flew in all of our folks, over 50 people, into New Jersey. And one of the things that we talked about in terms of sort of working on the business, we didn't talk about the financial service information. We really talked about operating and growing a business. And I think that a lot of advisors forget this type of thing, especially if you're new in the business. Dale, we talk about the senior producers more often than not, but there's still a lot of younger folks in the industry that are trying to build their business, and this whole idea of compound pounding and what Ed calls the Pinata Effect, right? Which is why we have this pinata here, and it's sort of appropriate that it's a pumpkin, given that we're heading into October. But what this all really means, and it's a pinata effect, compound pounding. Really, what it comes down to is never stopping what you're doing, right? Never stopping. If you have a goal and you have a dream that you want to do something, you can't stop because you never know when the success is going to come. And so Ed talks about, again, I want to make sure that I give credit to him where credit is due, because it's such a great analogy. But Ed talks about the whole pinata effect of, a lot of these kids, they hit the pinata. The first kid hits it, the second kid hits it, the third kid hits it, right? Nothing's happening, right? It just keeps getting whacked and the candy's not coming out. But eventually, one kid, and I'm saying kid, it could be an adult too, I guess, right?
If it's me, I'm swinging the stick at the pinata, right? At the birthday party.
Dale's taking the kids out to swing at the kids, right? But it's basically what it comes down to is so many people that swing at the pinata, they quit before the candy comes out. But there's always somebody that's going to hit it, and that's when all the candy comes out, right? And sometimes the candy gets shared with everybody else because they leave the party, they go in different directions, and then the candy comes out, and they rush to get some of the candy. But the person that stayed the longest, the person that whacked it the longest, and the last person to hit it, generally gets most of the candy because they're the ones that are right there. And it was interesting because I used to, when I first heard this, I thought about my time as a financial advisor early in the 90s. So I started in 96, and they nicknamed me, the guys in my room, there was 4 of us in a room about this size, so it was pretty tight quarters. But they nicknamed me the Golden Boy. The reality was I just made more calls than they did, right? I just kept making phone calls, which is like hitting the pinata, right? I just hit the pinata more and more and more than they did. And so I got more people to talk to. I had more clients. I found more opportunities. I came across people that were ready to roll over their RIA, their 401k into an RIA, IIR. There's all sorts of analogies this morning. That was the thing. And I think people, so this was a concept that I had thought about years and years ago, but Ed put it in a way that I never heard before. And it's just like, so if you're out there and you're a financial advisor and you're trying to build your business and you're cold calling or you're calling business owners or you're doing something, right? We talked about social media. And one of the things that is important with social media is you have to keep doing it, right? Because you never know when you're going to get that, when it's going to hit somebody, when it's going to catch somebody at the right time. And that's the same thing about just continuing to not stop, keep hitting the pinata. But the compound pounding part of it is the repeated hitting in this spot over and over and over again eventually wears out the pinata. And too many people in life or in financial services has a very, very, very high failure rate, right? If you want to come into this business, it's got a very high failure rate because some of the firms, in my opinion, personally, don't set up a program for younger, which is the part of the problem we have in this business is the age of the financial advisor continues to get older, where they're not bringing in younger producers, and the firms that are bringing in producers, they're not giving them enough runway to be successful, right? They're not giving them enough time for the compound pounding effect to take hold, for the clients that they started working on early on, right, to eventually get comfortable with them, to then decide to open up an account with them. So it's just a funny analogy, the pinata, that too many people I don't think recognize the people that are really successful are the ones that keep hitting the pinata, right?
Oh, actually I was talking to Kristen Shea. Shout out to Kristen Shea. Last couple of days, she made an interesting post on LinkedIn about a younger, not advisor, but someone who aspires to be an advisor on TikTok and what they're doing to get a ton of views and ultimately engagement, subscriptions, try to build a business. To your point, a lot of firms either won't allow their advisors to be on platforms like that, but looking from the outside in, you can tell this person on TikTok. I don't even actually know the username of who it is, but I've seen a lot of these folks. They put out constant content, and I've heard them in interviews all the time talk about, the first couple videos I did, no views, took hundreds, it took years, and eventually they're up to the couple 100,000 views, 10,000s of likes. Some of them get into the millions of views. I've run across advisors who use social media platforms like that, and they constantly make content because they're compound pounding and getting clients now because they're reaching their audience where their audience is. It's just, the audience is always kind of changing where our eyes are. It used to be when I was born, it used to be newspapers and books. And then it turned to television, and then it turned to these things called DVDs and CDs, and then it was the internet, and now it's still the internet, but it's cell phones, right? So as long as you can stay in front of clients that way. But Kristen's point was really interesting and valid. You got to make a lot of videos, and you can't give up. I mean, that's the true lesson here, right?
Right. That's the lesson, right?
Yeah. That's so interesting. I've been watching a show with my kids at night. It's on National Geographic. It's called Supernatural. It's all about nature. It's produced by James Cameron, who's a famous movie director. It was interesting as I was thinking about this concept. Gestation period for an elephant is about 2 years. All right, the mother walks around, pounds the ground with the elephant in her womb for about 2 years. When the elephant's born, and usually it's during a period of time in the Sahara where it's about 100 degrees. From the first 24 hours, the baby elephant has to learn how to walk, and elephants walk about up to 20 miles a day. Often where they birth and where they drink water can be like 10 to 20 miles apart. There's certain apex predator cats who have specialized in hunting those sort of moments and opportunities. So when I think about compound pounding from an early age, this elephant has to get on its feet within 24 hours, has to then walk 10 miles with its mother. And sometimes they get separated from the pack. And the moment it hit me last night was when I realized when they get separated from the pack, the pounding of the herd ahead of them is what gives them a beacon to where the water is. And when you see on video, when you see the baby elephants final run up to the pond or the lake, the water, the ears go up. It goes from total desperation, right? Yeah. Entered the world totally disoriented, was hungry, was starving, got separated from the rest of the extended family, pushed and forged through desert, barren land, got to the water, and to see the reaction on the baby elephant's face is compound pounding when the candy comes out and it gets to the water. I was
okay. That's a good analogy. Okay,
but it's in nature. It's everywhere.
That's compound pounding in nature. So I mean, how about the lion that has to follow that pack for 2 years, hoping one of those things happens, right? I look at there's so many lessons in compound pounding. It's the odd lot theory. If everyone has read that, or outlier, right? Not odd lot theory. That's a different financial service theory. But outlier, that's a good example of compound pounding, because what they're saying is you have to do something 10,000 times to master it, and it's because when you're doing it at the beginning, you're not doing well, you're not doing it right, you're not doing perfectly, and as you keep pounding at that whatever that task is, right, whatever it is you're trying to master, you get better and better at it with every action, right, with every opportunity, with every swing. It's the same thing with all athletes, and then look at the best athletes out there. They master their craft by repetition. Repetition is just compound pounding, right? It's just doing it over and over again, and every time you do it, you learn a little bit of something differently, what not to do this time, do it better that time, and it's constant. And we talked about, in our last episode, we talked about social media, and in financial services, it takes a long time, and we're starting to work with advisors now, and we're starting to help them with their marketing and their social media. And one of the things that we continue to explain to them is you have to trust this process. It takes time, and you have to Dale's point, you have to put out a lot of content on a consistent basis. You can't put out some content, wait 2 weeks, then put something else out, then wait another 2 weeks and put something else out. It has to be repetitive pounding on your social media platforms, putting out your message. And so we keep talking about that, which is partly why we're doing this podcast, because it's something that if you're a financial advisor and you're newer to the social media page, right, and many of the firms that are out there now are getting people back into, or allowing people to do more of it. You have to get comfortable and not quit, right? Not quit before the candy comes out when you're putting out social media. So you have to think about a pinata, right? So think about this pinata as like your social media, your audience on social media. And you have to, every swing at the pinata is a post, is a message, is a video, and you have to keep hitting it. Eventually, it's going to connect. Eventually, you're going to crack this thing, and a client's going to come out, right? That's the candy for you as a financial advisor. And I just want everyone to be perfectly clear that it takes time, right? some pinatas are made stronger than others, and so it takes a lot harder to swing at them. But the other thing too is, and Andy Frisella, there was a post out the other night from Andy Frisella, who runs a Real AF podcast and used to be called MFCEO podcast. But he made a point about not quitting, right? And if you don't quit, everybody else around you, people around you are gonna quit. And some people try social media stuff, they put stuff out there and they quit. But if you're the person that doesn't quit, if you're the person that keeps hitting the pinata over and over and over again, trusting that eventually it's gonna come out, you might be the only person there to get the candy. And what he was saying was that too many people in this world quit at what they're doing because they're not passionate about it. They don't believe that they can get the candy by keep swinging. And that's really it's not even a skill, right? The ability to not quit is not really a skill. I guess maybe it is a skill to not quit. Ed says be available, right? You have to be available for the success that you're going to have. So when you're hitting the pinata, you're doing the thing that is in your world that's important to you. You're making cold calls. You're knocking on doors. You're doing social media stuff. You're doing emails. You're whatever it is. You're asking people for the order, right? You're asking people to do business with them, right? That's you making not quitting, right? You're pounding the pinata, and you're making yourself available because you're letting them know you're open for business. You're letting the universe, you're letting your competitors, you're letting your potential clients know that you're willing to bring business on. So you have to make yourself available, and too many people close themselves off, right? I think as a financial advisor, you would be very, very surprised to know that you run a business and you have clients and you're always looking for new clients, or at least in your mind you're looking for new clients. But you would be surprised to find out that a lot of your clients don't know or think that you're looking for new clients, right? Many times you ask for a referral and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that you were looking for new clients," right? They don't understand what you have to do. And they forget how you came into contact with them. And when I had clients, I used to remind them, I called them on their telephone, right? Their home phone. No one answers their home phone anymore. So, so it's making sure that you let them know that you're available. And the bottom line is you have to be doing this stuff all the time. And there's just too many people in life that quit right when they're about to have success. I think that's an issue. If you look at I look at life as the universe is following me around, and the universe is watching what I do, and the universe, if I walk past a penny, I pick it up because I don't want the universe to think that I don't want money, right? I don't want things, and so sometimes I think that good things in life are hard to come by because the universe wants to make sure that you're worthy of it, that you're working towards it. And you have to keep swinging.
That's how I got started in this business, actually. So
right, that's a great example of compound pounding, right?
A lot of gratitude for you keeping me in this when, I really did quit. I mentally quit three times over 9 months. What was interesting about the last time that I quit, I remember this distinctly. So walking around my neighborhood for a couple of hours on the phone, you would not let me quit. I was at the point where, I had mentally shut down. It was 9 months in. I really didn't have. I think I lost my biggest opportunity that day.
I think that was like the third one or something, and you didn't believe that actually people moved firms.
Well, but I'm glad first of all, I'm glad I picked up your phone call because after 2 hours, what I decided, based on sort of what you're saying now,
right,
was that, look, I'm just going to not give up. That was the difference between day one starting to work with you.
Yeah.
There was sort of like this, you always have a plan B.
Right.
9 months, it was either one of two things. All right, I'm 100% done with this, but what I chose was I'm never going to be done with this. I'm just going to be all in on this and do this. and not stop doing this and not quit and not go through that cycle again. And that's almost 9 years later now, where the mindset, just that simple mindset of I'm never going to quit, that changed everything.
Right. But also then you made a comment about, and this is the sort of the power of one more, right? You said, I'm just going to move. I want to do this until I move one client.
That's a good point.
I want one client. I'm going to move one client.
I'm moving one client. I said that just in my mind. I'm going to move one client. I'm going to move one. Maybe I'll take it from there.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever told you that.
And then I'll move another, and then and that's the whole thing, right?
Yep.
So I was pounding. I kept pounding, right, on the pinata head, right? I kept pounding because I kept telling them like the candy's going to come out, basically like the candy's going to come out. Just trust me, man. Like, you're swinging, and maybe you're whiffing on a couple of them, but the candy's going to come out if you just keep swinging. Like, don't give up, don't quit. Trust me, what you did, which has been great, right? And just keep swinging. One more swing. And then eventually, I forget who the first client was, but you had your things started to progress, which was great. And that's really the moral of the story here. That good things happen when you don't quit on situations, right? Good things happen when you go all in. That's a whole nother topic, but going all in on something, and I think too many people have sort of side deals and, well, if this doesn't work out, then I'm going to do this other thing. And so you're going to get exactly what you want, and that is it's not going to work out because that's what you're telling the universe, right? Versus the whole expression of burning your ships at the shore, right? The reason why they did that back in time was that so that the sailors had no other choice but to fight. And take to fight the enemy because they had no ship to go back to, right? So That's what the whole expression comes out, to burn your ships to the shore, and that's what you did. So you made it, and you really started swinging harder, which was tremendous. So anyway, the point of this call of this podcast really is to get people to understand that, especially in this market, you have to keep swinging. You have to keep hitting the pinata. You have to keep doing social media. You have to keep talking to your clients. You have to keep asking for business. You have to, if you're looking to recruit, if you're a firm and you're trying to bring advisors in, or you're an RIA and you're trying to bring advisors into your practice, you have to keep talking. You have to keep going after it. You have to keep hitting the pinata, whatever that pinata is that you want. And there's too many people that we see they try to recruit and they can't get somebody, they stop. Or they do a little bit of social media and I'm spending too much money, and they stop, right? That's the wrong way to do it. You have to have a plan. You have to know what your pinatas are in your business and in your life. And you have to just keep swinging as hard as you can for as long as you can, knowing that the candy's gonna come out. And eventually it will, because you're showing the universe that that's what you want, and the universe will provide what you are working towards and want.
Keep swinging.
That's that. Keep swinging, right? Keep swinging. I don't know how not to do that. I always say that I know I'm going to win. I just don't know how I'm going to win. Because look, outworking people and keeping swinging is you don't have to be the smartest person. There's a lot of financial advisors that I know that aren't. I'm going to say that they're smart, but they're not like rocket science. They're not brilliant.
No, but the
difference is they keep going.
Exactly. And they've got a lot of this has to do with like, what are your motivations to keep going?
Yeah.
If it's to help people, for us here, I mean, that's huge. That gets me out of bed every morning. That keeps me swinging every single day, knowing I can help more and more advisors.
Yeah.
So think about that too as you're swinging out there.
Got it. All right. Well, listen. So thanks for listening. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for watching us. We're working on some new camera angles, so anybody have any suggestions and ideas on our camera angles, we'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this. Share the podcast, share the YouTube channel. Email us with topics. We have a couple more podcasts coming out next week, but we're really excited to do these things and really provide a level of education and just help and be there for people with content that we think is not being talked about enough. And so it's our job. We feel like it's our job and our responsibility to you all as listeners in the financial service community to provide this kind of content. So thanks very much. Have a great fall. For those of you in Florida, be safe, be careful, and we're thinking about you and our prayers are with you. Take care.
Thanks for watching Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of our other episodes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you back here next week.